This happened when I was only 5 years old. I remember that my family was coming back home from my grandparents' cottage that day. While on the way home, I started to have an extremely painful toothache. It was so strong that I was crying and screaming out in pain. So my mom searched the internet for the nearest hospital. Unfortunately, the only one around the area we were in was a mental hospital, which only had a dentist room for the patients of the hospital and for some emergency situations. As my mom was nervous about the patients, we immediately ran to the dentist's room. The dentist was in his early 40s, bald, and I remember that he had a really weird, kind of funny look about him. As we walked in, I guess he was annoyed about the fact that I was crying back then. "Hey, kid, shut up. Real men don't cry," he said. I was just a 5-year-old boy. My dad got pissed off, but he controlled himself because we weren't able to find another doctor. Suddenly, the dentist became super sweet and told me to sit on the chair. While he was checking my mouth, he seemed kinda nervous, but he was also saying some jokes to my 7-year-old brother. My brother started laughing, and then what the dentist did almost made my heart drop. He screamed to my brother, "Stop laughing or I'll take your brother's teeth out, one by one." It was enough. He was a weirdo, and at that point, my dad was furious. He was about to beat up this madman, but thankfully my mom calmed him down. Of course, my brother got scared and started crying. He told him to get out because he was so annoying that he couldn't do his work. So Dad got out with my brother and Mom stayed with me. Being paranoid, my mom didn't feel comfortable about leaving 5-year-old me behind with a weird stranger. I remember clearly that he looked at me in a very weird way that gave me the creeps. Just then, Mom asked him if she could use the toilet that was in the room. "Oh, sorry, ma'am. This isn't a restroom. It's a room we keep old stuff," he said, but we could clearly see the restroom sign on the door and even hear the noise of running water that the toilet made. From that moment until the end, the dentist seemed anxious. He was sweating and his hands were shaking.
People today, they could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So make
When he finished with my tooth, we immediately left and went home, and my mom called her sister to tell her everything about the incident. A week after, my aunt called my mom. "Did you see the news?" She told us that she saw a dentist who had killed a woman in her late 20s, and he was keeping her in his clinic's bathroom for almost a week. And the place was the same hospital where we had gone before. Shaking her hands, Mom turned on the TV. And there he was. It was the same man who had checked my tooth. That explained his weird behavior and why he didn't let my mom use the bathroom. A dead body was only a few meters away from me and my family. The dentist was diagnosed with schizophrenia and finally sentenced to death. I'm so glad that my mom didn't go to the bathroom anyway. And from my experience, I learned something that I want to share with you guys. If you ever notice that someone has a weird behavior that makes you feel uncomfortable, don't just stay there. Find an excuse and immediately leave. And this might save your life.